Welcome to a day in my life. My morning starts by making the bed and resetting my CPAP for the next night, and of course petting the puppy. Next, putting on the all-important deodorant, and depending on how my eyes are doing, I may or may not put on contacts. Then I think about what I want to do with my hair. I like twisting my hair on the sides like this, but I'm having trouble finding clips to hold it in place. If you have any suggestions, please link them below. This morning, I did forget sunscreen. I do a swish and swipe, as the Fly Lady would say. Here, it is the mirror and counter, and depending on the day, I may or may not clean the toilet. Next, I think about what I want to wear for the day. Sometimes I do this the night before. On this particular day, I had to check in the morning. I really enjoy my little chair for getting ready. Now I'm picking out jewelry. Having a rack like this encourages me to wear jewelry. Before I leave the room, I like to look around and see if there's anything I can reset. Putting away things that have accumulated, folding laundry, and in this case, I have a laundry basket which is convenient to carry things out. My sweaters tend to accumulate in my bedroom on that hook because I wear them to my bedroom at night and hang them up. Their actual home is in the hallway closet. The first thing in the kitchen is to refill my water and make my tea. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I like the morning ritual of having a hot drink. So currently I'm drinking a combination of dandelion and chicory root. And I treat it like coffee and add creamer and sweetener. Currently, my meals are directed by the Lumen app. It uses a breathalyzer thing to see if I'm burning carbs or fat, and then it sets up my macros for the day in order to lose weight and improve my metabolism. I've seen some good success for a couple of weeks, and then it stalls out, so I'm hoping that it'll pay off in the long run. West was gone this morning, so I got to put away the dishes in the morning. Here I'm resetting my tea for the next day. Usually I have my phone with me and I record my food before I eat. This morning I went ahead and made a note for myself. Since having braces, I do a lot of messing around my mouth, especially now that they put me into elastics. I have to put them on and off every time I eat. The first task I like to do for the day is to go for a walk. It gets me out in the sunshine and gets my body moving. If you watched previous walking videos, you know that I was trying to do an at-home PT program. I've now transitioned into having PT in person twice a week. PT is asking me to be on the heating pad a couple times a day. So, after I stretch, that's a good time to lay down. At this point, it was time for Puppy's lunch. It was too soon after my breakfast, so I had a snack. I believe I probably got up around 9:30, so lunchtime came sooner than usual after breakfast. Watching this day back, I have realized I like the timer function on my watch. I like using it to take advantage of small chunks of time so that I can be productive but not lose track of my commitments. So I set a timer for 30 minutes or so and did some picture scanning before an appointment. I couldn't do the whole process, but I could get it started. Next, it was time to grab my purse and saddle up the puppies. The appointment was only for the fluffy one, Dutch, but Snicker gets separation anxiety, and she likes to go along for the ride. Even though when she's at the vet, she gets all nervous, thinking it's her turn, even though I tell her, no, it's not. This particular vet appointment had good results and showed Dutch's platelets were recovering. I typically charge my watch before I leave the bedroom, but this morning I forgot. So when it started squealing at me and saying it was dying, I decided to plug it in as I made lunch. At this point, I changed out the cell phone that was recording, so now you'll see more typical behavior of me texting family throughout the day and watching YouTube. This day I had a relatively light lunch, just a sandwich and some cheese. With this way of eating, I tend to eat more frequently and feel like I'm eating more food. Definitely more protein than I'm used to. I was telling West I feel good. I feel good when we're eating on plan, but it does take a lot of effort and time doing all the recording and tracking. With West being gone, during my meals I tend to watch YouTube. Usually he and I are sitting there talking. We enjoy having our meals together. I am trying to avoid stevia for the month of May, so rather than drinking Zevia, I am trying out flavoring my water in different ways. Today I decided to juice an orange into the water. It was okay if I added a little bit of monk fruit sweetener. I'm avoiding stevia to see if it helps relieve migraines. Now being fueled up with a good chunk of time available to me, I decided to go ahead and film. This day was going to be going through the storage unit in preparation for downsizing and moving in with Mom. I'll link that video below. Now you get to see a behind the scenes of filming. Notice how many times that tripod fell over, which is frustrating, but that's the one I have to work with at the moment. I had a lot of resistance to going through this cupboard. I felt like I'd gone through it relatively recently and it was greatly downsized from what it was. Now, after editing that video and having a few days separation, I can already tell you I've identified more things that I'd be willing to get rid of. I don't know if that'll be another video or maybe posting some pictures on the community tab showing the extra things I got rid of. It's amazing how our mindsets going into decluttering can affect the whole process. I definitely had resistance. I'll consider this the first pass on the road to decluttering. I guess that's one blessing of not having a hard timeline for moving. I can have multiple passes at decluttering. It doesn't have to be the final version at the first round. Wes not being home this day highlighted some things that he does for me, for example, putting away the dishes. I am excited to see him. I think I tend to watch YouTube during my meals to have companionship and a distraction from being alone. In fact, looking back on this day, the only times I talked was when I was filming, when my daughter eventually came home from work, and then with West. Whenever I'm talking on my phone later on, that is with West. I believe the process of going through the cupboard and filming took a little over an hour, and through editing I brought it down to 20 minutes. Just like the filming of this day in the life obviously took the entire day, and I was able to get it down to less than 25 minutes. Through speeding it up to 10 times the speed, and during repetitive parts, like meat chewing, even up to 25 times. And of course, just cutting things out. Speaking of which, let's speed this up. Overall, I feel like this day was productive and I was able to have a good rhythm between working and resting. Once I was finished with filming, I decided to go ahead and lay down on the heating pad again with the delightful companionship of my little puppy, Snickers. She is my constant shadow. Once my 30 minutes were up, I headed back to the office to finish editing the pictures I had scanned earlier. This particular trip had quite a few pictures, so it felt good getting that all scanned in. Once that was done, it was time to start cooking dinner. I'll have this recipe linked below if you're interested. It is a keto recipe, which means it's low carb, which also conversely means it's high fat. This is a beef and cauliflower recipe, and depending on how strong the seasoning is, it reminds me of Hamburger Helper. I've had family members say it reminds them of breakfast casserole, but instead of hash browns, you have cauliflower. The cauliflower doesn't have a strong flavor. Rather than cooking the cauliflower completely in the oven, this recipe instructs you to cook the cauliflower for 5 minutes in the microwave with a little bit of water, and then add it to the dish. I find this to be a good tip for speeding things up. I do enjoy doing something like this where we have leftovers, so I don't have to be cooking as often. I do enjoy cooking, but having to cook every single day can get tiring. You'll see in the background the puppies have a permanent doggy door. It's been a huge blessing for us over the years, but it does increase the overall dirt in the house and can affect the temperature in the kitchen and dining room. I like to do the majority of dishes during cooking, but I don't like to wash the pans while they're hot. As I was waiting for dinner to cook, I went ahead and grabbed a protein drink. I want to get back into the habit of journaling. This day was hard to get into the flow, and I was looking up journaling prompts trying to get ideas. but eventually I did get into writing. I find that writing 1 page is typically sufficient. I really enjoy this desk, and I hope that it will fit at Mom's. If you journal, what kind of prompts do you like to use, and what areas of your life do you journal for? At this point, the timer had gone off for the casserole, so I came out and got it out of the oven, and decided to take care of the trash. As I was walking out, I was thinking, oh, it's dinner time, and I started thinking about West and missing him, and lo and behold, he called me. I got to go through some mail with him, general tidying up, touching base, and seeing how his day had gone. I find going on the morning walk is nice. It connects me to the day better. I'm starting to get in the habit of going out in the afternoon as well, to be in the sunshine and the weather, which helps give my day a rhythm. As you can see, this day was particularly breezy, if not outright windy. As I was doing this, I was thinking I might mow the backyard. Before I can mow, I have to pick up the poo and the pine cones, but I decided I was not physically up to mowing this day. It never hurts to pick up the poo. I'm still talking to West on the speakerphone. At this point, it was time to refresh my water, and it felt like a good time to have dinner. I have found laying on the heating pad a couple times a day, if not more, has been helpful for my neck and shoulders. At this point, my daughter had come home from work and was checking in with me, just talking about the day. Now that Dutch is going blind, he has stopped wanting to jump on furniture, so she was helping him get up there. Once again, I'm watching YouTube. YouTube is my main source of entertainment. It has come in helpful during times of chronic pain. I got my nightly visit from the kitty Luna, who is being surprisingly good. She is a very talkative cat. Once that 30-minute session was done with the mat, it was time to go into the living room. My nightly routine is to crochet while watching YouTube. When West is home, we talk or do stuff in the office together, but even when he is home, most of my evenings are spent unwinding, watching YouTube, and crocheting. At this point, it was time for the puppy's dinner. Since I spent so much time this day filming, tomorrow and the next days will probably have a lot of time with me sitting in the recliner editing videos. So each of my days do have a different rhythm. I find that I do best with a bedtime snack, even though it's contrary to most advice of not eating before bed. Even Lumen shows I do better. I wonder if it has to do with fasting times and that I do better with a shorter fast. Here I was checking my macros, seeing what was left and what was available to eat, and after searching around, I decided on a yogurt. I decided not to eat in the kitchen, standing up, and to go sit down and savor each bite. This should make a difference in digestion. I'm still trying to figure out the whole Lumen thing. It seems to be very unpredictable at this point. It was time to wind down for the night. One of the main things I do before bed is to finish all the dishes. I like waking up to a clean kitchen in the morning. In the mornings, I wipe down the counters in the bathroom, and at night, I like to wipe down the counters in the kitchen, so it's fresh and ready to go. I recently started adding glass cleaner to wipe down the microwave, as I don't like all the fingerprints that accumulate on it throughout the day. Once that's done, it's time for the puppy's medication and walk. In some ways, my bedtime routine is the reverse of my morning routine. I pull the pillows off the bed, take off my jewelry, check the weather, and lay out my clothes for the next day. At that point, I remembered I wanted to do some laundry, so I went back out and put it on a delay, so by the time I woke up in the morning, it would be ready to go into the dryer. This evening I decided to take a shower, and then it was time for bed. Thank you for joining me for this behind-the-scenes day in the life. I hope you have a wonderful day. Feel free to like and subscribe.